Let's welcome next to our stage, we have Crimson Clad with Hive Blockchain.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, perfect. All right, Dale had a good idea. I'm going to hop over here too so you can see everything that's going on. So hi out there, everybody. I know there's a lot of people who are checking us out from the live stream. It's awesome to know how many people are interested in everything that's going on here at Rare Evo. And until we get everything up on the screen, I am going to give a shout out to the team here. You'll notice I'm a little froggy. It's the second day of the con falling apart. We're all kind of keeping it together. We're interested in what's going on, but we're slowing down a little bit. So thanks for being understanding of what's happening today. So we just had an amazing talk from Dale, and I'm kind of coming up here to talk about the flip side of what he was discussing. I am here as a representative of the Hive blockchain, and I'm introducing myself to you as Crimson Clad. My name is Gina, but when I move in this space, I have an identity that's attached to me, and people know me as Crimson Clad. And I've built that identity in my time in this space, and it started with the Hive blockchain. And so what I want to talk to you about today is, yes, what we're doing on Hive, what this blockchain is about, but more importantly, I kind of want to talk to you about a specific part of blockchain ideology. And I want to talk to you about the idea of digital identity, because it's changing a lot and incredibly quickly. This technology is moving so fast, and it's changing the way that we interact with the world, and it's changing the way we interact with each other. And believe it or not, that's incredibly valuable to us if we're in control of it, or at the very least, we're acting in a voluntary manner. So identity in our space is pretty wild. The more you learn about blockchain, you're going to start hearing about IDPs and SSIs and UMIs, and there's every alphabet acronym you can imagine. And so, you know, these are really important concepts of how can I tie identity, information about me, to a blockchain? How can I use a blockchain to move this information around, to use it in financial transactions, to help me figure out where my FedEx package is? All of these things are really, really important. But there's another side of it. And there's a side of the internet space and the social space specifically, where you need to be able to have a little bit more impact, and you need to be able to do it as whatever the identity that you create and you need for good relationships, to build great businesses, you know, all of the things that we do day to day. So with the Hive blockchain, we do things a little bit differently. Yes, we're a blockchain. Yes, we have a cryptocurrency that is attached to it. It's fast, it's feeless, there are no gas fees, you know. These are all great things, and I could talk to you all day about that. But for this particular event, what I want to talk about is the social aspect. And we don't always spend a lot of time thinking about that as valuable. But think about how many businesses exist solely on Facebook. And it's a dirty word when we come to these conferences and we say Facebook or Instagram or, you know. But think about how many people have peer-to-peer businesses. They just sell things as on the side, or maybe it's not even a business. Maybe they're an influencer. But think about all of the ways that we use social media, and think about almost any interaction in your life. It probably comes back and touches some Web 2 social media platform. It's wild to think that how important this is in our lives. So it stands to reason that the connections that you make on social media are really, really valuable. Somebody out there wants to buy the information, somebody wants to sell it, people want to understand you based on it. But the problem with Web 2 is you don't really get a big say in what's kept about you or how it's used. It's not very voluntary. And so with the Hive blockchain and with our sort of approach to everything is your ability to build a sovereign, voluntary digital identity should be non-negotiable. Says it on the slide. The reality is, you need to be in control of your identity. Now, for us, what we want is that if you're going to tie all this to the blockchain, does it make a lot of sense to pay each time you like a photo? Does it make a lot of sense to have a fee to follow somebody else's account? And the answer is no. And so we've had to kind of generate an entire new blockchain, an entire new way of looking at what type of information is kept inside a blockchain to be a better fit for how humans interact. Yes, blockchain is a technology. Yes, it is automation. Yes, there's so much about it that's going to change lots of aspects of our businesses and our financial lives. But at the same time, we are people. People build blockchain, people influence technology, and we build technology to make things easier for us to be people. That's the idea of all of this. And so in a world where we're going to start seeing digital passports, we're going to start seeing governments using that same plastic card that has been the idea of identity that's tied to you, there should be a second you. And it should be used for gaming, friendships, it should be used for selling things, it should be used for communicating around the world, and it should only encompass exactly what you want it to. So, to kind of understand where Hive came from, I have to give you a little bit of a backstory, because what we talk about a lot is building strong communities. A lot of people don't necessarily equate the blockchain and technology with strong communities, or didn't at first. You would say, hey, they're the Bitcoin people, or oh, they're the ETH people. But in terms of thinking of them as communities, unless you were inside of them, you really didn't have a connection with them. But you understand inherently when we talk about, oh, I've got a Facebook group. Oh, yeah, I follow a big YouTube influencer on Twitter. All of a sudden you understand I'm a community member of an interest group. I'm a community member of, I love to play a game with different friends. Whatever it is that you build community around. For us, that is incredibly valuable. And right now, it's more apparent than ever, and we've seen it with Web 2 social media. It's changing very rapidly, and it's changing based on authority, central authority. It's not a bad thing. You have to have centralized companies and structures. But for us to offer you the best chance at having completely voluntary interactions out in the world, and for people who want to build projects to have a safe foundation layer to connect to Web3, it has to be decentralized right from the get-go, right from the base layer. And so that's kind of where Hive comes in. For us, where our community came from and where our idea of decentralization came from, we live it to our core, is because we had a legacy blockchain, and it started in 2017. And through a series of very interesting and unfortunate and dramatic events, the company that owned and ran and built that blockchain and had a massive founder's stake of tokens, a centralized entity, sold them. And the community that was built on top of that legacy blockchain suddenly felt everything that they had built on top of ripped out from under them. The company was changed. How they were going to interact with the blockchain was changed. Their perception of all the value they'd built on it changing, and they had no choice. We had no choice. And so what ended up happening is Hive actually was formed from a hard fork. And I promise I'm bringing this to the front for a reason. Hive happened because we wanted to move away from that central authority, this change of hands. And so we basically looked at it and we realized there's no way in the future to prevent this from happening unless this base layer blockchain has no owners, no VC, no company, no founders, no token presale. We took the legacy chain that we were on and we said, okay, everything in blockchain is voluntary. We choose not to be here anymore. We're moving forward with everything we've built socially in this tech stack. And we forked away, and there was no reason for Hive to become a valuable blockchain. everybody came with us. Everyone. Games, dApps, open source developers. This code base is maintained by people. It's fully open source, more than 100 contributors. Nobody owns it, but everybody owns it. And so this decentralized layer that we just took with us on a hope and a prayer has now been trucking along for an additional 3 years. This chain from inception through the worst 51% attack the world has ever seen to where we stand today, it's 7 years old. That's insane in this space. And so rather than focus only on Hive, let's come back to the identity thing. Because now when you come to Hive, you know that that base layer cannot be touched by anyone. Anything you choose to lock into the Hive blockchain is yours. No one can make you do it. No one can take it away from you. No one can alter it. And it's truly voluntary. And that's such an incredibly important part of defining who you are, who you get to interact with, the people that are important to you, and the relationships that you form. And when we talk about these relationships, we don't just mean I am sending you some money. I am sending you an NFT. I'm talking about a little bit more than that. If you're looking at like legacy media right now, social media, if you say the wrong thing, you're shadow banned. If you happen to make a little boo-boo, there's a good chance your account gets deleted forever. What happens to all your friends? The likes, your posts, the content you've created? Because these are all things that go into who you are in your social media life, in your life in general. These are all parts of your identity and the identity that you've cultivated. And if they're taken away from you by someone else, they're actively cutting the parts of your identity that you've created very purposefully away from you. We don't like that very much. So with Hive, all of these types of social interactions, whether it's likes, it's long-form post content, it is text data, all of this is kept at the base layer of the blockchain. And it's treated just as valuably as our cryptocurrency is, as our stablecoin is. So yes, we've got these awesome options for you to be able to send permissionless payments around the world to anybody. They're fast, they're feeless, you pay nothing. We believe that you shouldn't have to erode your assets to use them. That's nuts. And especially in the world we're moving into, where gaming is now increasingly connected, where little bits and pieces of our life are touching Web3, it's terrible UX, it's terrible UI. None of us want to wait. None of us need to pay a fee just to do everything. And there is a future coming where that's starting to happen. So we're trying to make sure that there is a place that you can operate in and you can be and interact and engage with the companies, the businesses, the people, the friends, the content that you want to without having to fall into that trap. So, understanding how Hive kind of keeps growing, because here we are in, boy, it's a bear market, and it's been a long one, it's been a tough one, and yet, Hive continues to grow, people are building more projects on top of it, token value hasn't really tanked, and none of those things actually truly matter. Why is it that humans keep choosing to join Hive? Why is it that people keep finding the Hive blockchain, falling in love with it, and deciding to fold it into their businesses, their projects, their passions? Why are they using it as a content distribution network? Why are they finding ways to immortalize, essentially, these connections that are so important in our lives? Because where people gather, marketplaces form. Where people share information, we're enriched. All of these things that don't necessarily have a fiat dollar value, make no mistake, they're incredibly valuable to you. Stop and think if your communication pathways, if your ability to play games with your friends, matchmake in a gaming session was taken away from you. You'd be real mad. You'd be really upset because these things are valuable to you. And never forget, these things are also very valuable to companies. they're valuable to governments. And as of right now, most of the places, most of the technology that you engage with, they kind of define what your username can be, whether or not you have to have KYC, whether or not you're allowed to have so many friends or send so many messages. There are rules and conditions on the identity that you build based on the platform that you use. And that's okay, that's totally fine. But you should have a choice, and there should be technology to support these type of social actions for everyone, everywhere. That is Hive, and that is why for the first time we're kind of making our way out to conferences. Because the funny thing is, when you don't have a founder and you don't have a marketing department and you don't have somebody who's in charge of getting out and talking to people, it's also really hard to be discovered. And we've been so lucky to talk to so many of you and have these incredible conversations with other projects, chains that have technology that is targeting high-level financial data, or that are building communities based around shared assets. But what they're missing, and what we kind of hope to bring to the table, is the true social aspect. The parts of other blockchain projects or other social projects, or frankly, just any one of you end users that you just don't have yet. It is here. Hive is around, it's available to you. It's free, it's fast, it's incredible open source infrastructure. There's a number of ways that it can probably make something in your life a little bit better. And you don't have to use blockchain for everything. And in fact, I'd never heard Dale's expression of sprinkle a little blockchain dust and see what grows. That is our industry in a nutshell right now. Everything on the blockchain, that's not practical. But maybe you met somebody here at this conference and for whatever reason you just know their username, but you'd love to play a game with them. And you know it's them because on the Hive blockchain, their identity is secured by their keys. And once you play a game with them, you realize, hey, I want to shoot you a memo and I want to make sure that you get a message that is locked into the blockchain forever that reminds you of something we talked about at this conference. Or actually, I want to follow you because it turns out that you're a content producer who makes incredible videos and wants to start moving into a decentralized space. On top of Hive, there's an incredible network of dApps. There are projects, there are Web3 games, and a number of them are here with us today. So after, if you're here in person, sorry about it, people on the stream, if you're on the stream, you can go to hive.io and explore our ecosystem. Find Splinterlands and Crypto Shots and Wrestling Organization online, some of the games that are here with us today. Or discover new social media platforms that you can start using for the same content that you're producing now on Web 2. Find Friends, PeakD, Ecency, Like2, DBuzz. We have a number of different types of platforms built on top of Hive. Or maybe you just want to use it because you're really sick of gas fees. Try it out. Send, some money around the world for zero cost and in less than 3 seconds. Any of these things are available to you, but more importantly, we'd love to see some of the blockchains that have built incredible solutions that don't have a social aspect also starting to use Hive, because we are free and open source, and it is as easy as connecting to some of the resources we provide with common web languages. And what it means is decentralized, immutable storage for free that you can use for text data. And that might be incredibly useful for a project that focuses solely on financial crypto data. And when you can't or don't need to use a smart contract for some form of information or some form of product, then you may find that Hive is going to be the right choice for you. So we're kind of coming to the end of everything that I want to talk to you about today. But I want to kind of invite you to understand that you can have an identity, and it can be whatever you want, and it should be voluntary. And so if you're here today, or if you're listening to me speaking about this, we'd love to have you visit us over at the booth if you're here at the show floor. And if you're not, definitely go and check out hive.io. Learn a little bit more about what true social media looks like and understand a lot of the benefits that are coming down right now from Web3 and with blockchain is that ownership and identity matter. And every facet of your life, a company, a business, a nation state, a government, a municipal, everybody is going to tell you who you are, what information is attached to you. They're going to categorize you, classify you, sell you, buy you, use you. And that's okay to a degree, but there should be one place and there should be one thing, there should be one opportunity for you to have the identity that you own, and you should be able to tie it to any product, any service, any person, any friend that you want. And that identity exists. You just have to claim it. So come over and meet us. We'll set you up with a wallet account, your human readable address, like Crimson Clad. And come join us on Hive. Come think about building on Hive. And if you're already building and you're looking for some solutions and you're looking for ways to continue to grow this space in a collaborative, cooperative, competitive fashion, then Hive is probably right for you. I'm a little bit short on my time. I wanted to keep it brief. So I don't know where our MC is. Anyways, come on over, right? Come visit us. Oh, and before they run the commercial, I'll just let you know for everybody who's here in person, we are hosting a social over at the Hive booth from 2 to 4. So if you do get a chance to pop in, drinks, donuts, and we'll be celebrating with Sunny Onar, a WCW superstar. So come over and ask some questions if you have any about Hive and you want to learn a little bit more or you want to meet some of the community. We're ready to have a little bit more of a party with you. I don't know, I'm just gonna escort myself off the stage, maybe.
Claim your official proof of participation in Rare Evo 2023. Whether you attend physically or tune in on the live stream, you get a free NFT painted by Brendan O'Connell, live from our Expo Hall floor, and you get whitelisted for the Rare Perks NFT presale. By claiming, you will be entered into a giveaway of multiple rewards, including the original one-of-one physical painting by Brendan, along with exclusive access and opportunities for Rare Evo 2024, including, but not limited to, free general admission and VIP passes, a 10x10 booth, workshop space, and more.